yet it is these 7 Kenyans who have since been deported, the 6.
Yes, greetings and welcome everyone, family, brothers and sisters. There's something going on between Kenya and South Africa. South Africa accusing Kenya for being used by the United States of America to register fake death and fake genocide information about Afrikaners. So let me take you direct to the full story on this issue between South Africa and Kenya. Do you see in the near future we are going to have a united Africa?
Ago or last month that there were 32 Kenyans who had applied to come to work in South Africa, and they were going to work with a organization. It's a Christian organization. Its headquarters is in the United States of America and also a branch in Nairobi. They were going to come here to help with processing of these Afrikaners who want to go to the United States of America. And therefore, when you look at what they were going to do, clearly it's not a scarce skills. And therefore, they were not allowed to come to South Africa to do that kind of work. That doesn't mean that the processing of Afrikaners who want to go to the United States of America is not happening. It has been happening. We saw when they left earlier on. And therefore, the question, this organization, when they realized that visas were not granted for these Kenyans to work here, and then these Kenyans applied pretending that they are coming to visit, they are coming for holidays. And therefore, they came via Zimbabwe. From Zimbabwe, they went to Botswana and then South Africa. So you can see that their process of traveling, clearly they were up to something. And when they arrive here, they were supposed to be tourists who are supposed to return back to their country with no working permit or visa. And then they started working with this organization at some offices in Sandton, in Kelvin. It is not any of the American offices, either the consul general or the embassy. It was a private office, and they were working there. And therefore, they were arrested because they violated the immigration laws of South Africa. You come into a country, you say you are visiting, all of a sudden you are working. And they were being paid by this Christian organization that is based in the United States of America. For the fact that they were being paid, it means they were employed. And then in a sting, they were arrested and they were sent back. No American official was arrested. Yes, there were 2 officials from the American office at that time. But after they did produce their passports to confirm that they are officials, they were not arrested. The problem is earlier, there was a standoff when they were refusing to produce passports to confirm that they are working for the American office in South Africa. But there were no American official who was arrested. It is these 7 Kenyans who have since been deported. The 6 left at about 12:05 today, towards lunchtime. And the last one, the 7th one, will be leaving at 5:05 today, traveling back to Nairobi, Kenya.
Africa stands at a crucial moment in history, a continent blessed with wealth, youth, and potential, yet too often divided, manipulated, and turned against itself. Today's story isn't just about Kenya and South Africa. It's about the deeper forces pulling the strings behind the scenes and the urgent need for African unity. Recent headlines have exposed a growing diplomatic rift. South African authorities arrested several Kenyan nationals, individuals allegedly working under the United States government, who were operating without proper documentation. While this may seem like a minor immigration issue, it points to something far more dangerous: the use of African nations by foreign powers to spy, sabotage, and destabilize fellow Africans. For decades, the United States has positioned itself as a partner to Africa, providing aid, security support, and diplomacy. But behind this partnership lies a different agenda: influence, control, and military presence. Kenya has become a key player in this strategy. Hosting U.S. and British military bases, Kenyan forces have been deployed not only across East Africa, but even as far as Haiti, advancing Western interests while appearing to represent African leadership. These operations aren't about solidarity, they're about extending Western power under an African face. Today, Kenyan operatives, backed by U.S. agencies, are being used to carry out espionage inside South Africa, allegedly registering fake genocide victims and sowing seeds for a future false flag operation. This is not just about one country misbehaving. It's about how powerful nations are exploiting African divisions to maintain dominance. The dream of Pan-Africanism was born from a deep understanding. Africa can only rise if it rises together. Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara. These great minds knew that unity was the ultimate weapon against imperialism. But history shows us that unity is what foreign powers fear most. That's why they work so hard to prevent it. They fund opposition, they spread propaganda, they use African governments to police their own people, and sometimes even to eliminate African leaders. It's no coincidence that countries like Kenya, once allies in the struggle for liberation, are now being turned into tools of suppression. When Kenya undermines South Africa, whether willingly or under pressure, it undermines all of Africa. The betrayal is not just diplomatic, it's ideological. It's a betrayal of the vision of a united, sovereign, and self-determined continent. Some argue that Kenya is simply doing what's best for its own national interest. After all, alliances with the West bring money, weapons, and global favor. But at what cost? Kenya's participation in U.S. military missions and intelligence operations against fellow African nations raises serious ethical questions. Is short-term gain worth long-term damage to African unity? Can we truly claim independence if our governments act on behalf of foreign interests? Kenyan citizens must ask, is our government serving our people, or is it serving powers that seek to divide and control Africa from within? This is not the time to point fingers in hate, it's the time to rise in clarity. Africa cannot afford another century of division. We cannot allow outside powers to turn brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, and nation against nation. Kenya and South Africa are not enemies. They are family, and family sometimes falls out, but must always find its way back. The dream of a united Africa is still alive, but it must be defended with truth, with courage, and with wisdom. We must educate our people about imperial tactics. We must call out betrayal, whether it comes from outside or within. And above all, we must remember that the power of Africa lies not in its resources, but in its unity. The arrest of Kenyan nationals in South Africa is a wake-up call. It shows us that the struggle for African liberation is far from over, but also that we still have the power to choose a different path, a path of truth, a path of independence, a path of Pan-Africanism. Let us not betray the dreams of Nkrumah, Lumumba, or Sankara. Let us rise as one people, diverse in culture, but united in purpose. It's time to make Africa great, together.
Yes, welcome back, family, brothers and sisters. That's ended as expected. It's true that South Africa has arrested and is processing deportation orders for 7 Kenyans illegally working in the country. They will be prohibited from entering South Africa again for a 5-year period. After that statement released by South Africa concerning about those Kenyans, U.S. Also released the statement to condemn South Africa for deporting Kenyans who were working for United States of America. The U.S. condemns in the strongest terms the South African government's recent detention of U.S. officials performing their duties to provide humanitarian support to Afrikaners. Furthermore, the public release of our U.S. officials' passport information is an unacceptable form of harassment. Those are statements released by the United States of America. You know what is going on here, brothers and sisters? U.S. is finding an opportunity to invade South Africa militarily or to punish South Africa militarily. U.S. will use African countries to attack South Africa, to punish South Africa. We know very well that in the neighboring country of Botswana, US has military base there. In Kenya, US has military base. And now you see US using same Africans to destabilize and to violate rules and laws in South Africa. So this will create misunderstanding between Kenya and South Africa. You know what will happen here? This will be between South Africa and Kenya. Recently, almost 3 months or 5 months ago, we witnessed escalation between Rwanda and South Africa. You remember what happened in DRC when the army of Rwanda attacked the army of South Africa. Sometimes we may think why this is happening. It's because of external powers. These external powers, right now, they're finding the way to divide Africa. The only way to divide Africa is to make these countries fighting each other. In the near future, we are going to see whether South Africa fighting among their neighboring countries or fighting with neighboring countries. And for the good thing right now, we have maybe President Ramaphosa, who is a polite and diplomatic president. But I'm sure if Ramaphosa is not diplomatic and a polite president, right now, as I speak to you, maybe we have already witnessed escalation between Rwanda and South Africa. And then if that thing will happen, the US and these Western power that they don't want South Africa or they hate South Africa will move backward to support the opposition or the rival opponent. That's what they will do. And the way we see right now in Eastern Europe, you saw what's happening in Russia and what is going on there. These people, they use your neighbors to distract you. And that's what will happen between South Africa. And I'm very happy South Africa has realized this. And maybe President Ruto and the Kenyans don't realize this, but this is the reality. These people, they have already stationed their military bases. They have some equipment here in the continent of Africa. They know how to control us. They have already started installing puppet leaders, and sometimes they went far and studied our mentalities, studied our brains. So they play the games, they know the outcomes. So as Africans, I think this is a wake-up call to all of the people of Africa. When we talk about unity, we should not be used, even if maybe we get money from outside. Of course, we know these projects where countries earn more money after accomplishing these tasks. But all in all, we must understand that this will bring Africans into chaoses, into conflict. It doesn't make sense that South Africa will accept Kenyans to write false information about Afrikaners. At the end of the day, US will come and invade South Africa militarily. Things started like that in Libya. You know, we may think this is a small thing, but Libya started like that. They use neighboring countries, they use people within the country of Libya, but at the end of the day, they said there was violation of human rights in Libya. So they're coming to protect citizens. Then Africa, we did nothing. So we need to be vigilant, we need to be careful, and we need to tell our leaders, African Union, this is your responsibilities to tell these countries that are being used by this external power. Because if escalation will occur, no one is safe. No one is safe. Even neighboring countries will also be affected. So family, brothers and sisters, that is what's happening between South Africa and Kenya. But we hope these things will be resolved diplomatically. And we urge Presidents Ruto and other leaders who sometimes are being used to destabilize fellow African countries, they have to stop it. They have to make sure that they look much on African continent. You know, sometimes we may think that because we are trading maybe with US, we are trading with China, we don't need small countries such as Rwanda. We don't need small countries such as Djibouti. No, we are Africans. Despite how small it is, we have to respect. We are Africans. We are brothers and sisters. We must love one another. So I think this message must go to Kenyan President Loto, and to see how they can resolve these challenges and these issues peacefully. So family, let's not speak for too long. My aim is to share this information from South Africa and Kenya in general on what is going on. As Africans, always we seek peace, we seek development, and we find best solutions for challenges. That's why we're here. We're here to seek best solutions for challenges. And that family have no more to share. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, freedom. Thank you, Africa.